Welcome to a community update from the Department of Senior Affairs. I'm your host, Ed Nuñez. Today's guest is our new department director, Mrs. Anna Sanchez. She was appointed to the position in March to lead the department by Mayor Tim Keller. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ed. Appreciate it.
Well, of course, we've been wanting to have you, and I know how busy you've been. Your schedule's meeting here, meeting there, and there's a lot of changes with the department, so we wanted to have you on to talk about that. Tell us a little bit about your background first, because Mayor Keller did appoint you, and you have background before that, and people need to know what was some of that background.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate the opportunity. Well, I am a happily married woman to Gabriel Sanchez for over 15 years. I have a daughter, 8-year-old Gabriela. Keeps me quite busy, so I'm mom first, but certainly dedicated to our community members. I actually came from the nonprofit sector. Over the last 10 years, I work for the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation, working on fundraising, grant development for our programs at the Cultural Center. Prior to that, I worked for Central New Mexico Community College Foundation as a development director, raising funds for student scholarships, which was really important to my heart because I am a first-generation college graduate, and that was really important to be able to work at the community college level. I enjoyed that very much. And certainly, most people don't realize this, but I actually used to work for the city a little over 10 years ago. Came from animal services, environmental health, and I do have a master's degree in public administration and a bachelor's degree in English communications.
So quite a diverse background, and that's, I'm sure, one of the reasons Mayor Keller appointed you to our department. And I'll tell you, I've worked for the department since 2006. I've been, before that, Family Community Services. So it's a great department, a wonderful department. I think we touch lives in many ways every single day, and I'm glad I'm able to see that. So tell us about the Department of Senior Affairs, and again, many changes, and that's one of the things that our division managers have told us, that there's changes happening every day, and we've seen that. So tell us a little bit about the department.
Oh, thank you. Certainly, our department is committed to improving everyone's quality of life. Certainly, we want people to age with dignity, independence, share their wisdom with others. So we're certainly dedicated to providing programs and services for that, for our individual community members. We cater to everyone from the active, healthy senior to also the isolated, homebound senior that we see in our community. So our programs are vast and deep, and I think a lot of folks don't realize that. We operate with about a $14 million budget. Half of it is grant funded, which we are very grateful for, to have those services that we can provide to our community members. And our work is important because, as we know, there's a growing, changing senior population that we're seeing. Is projected by 2030 that New Mexico is actually going to be the largest senior population, fourth largest senior population in the country. So we need to be forward thinking in that, as we understand that our senior population is going to continue to grow.
And I'll tell you what, that's only, it's 12 years away, and I know that plans have already been made around that, and yeah, that's a very important point there. Anna, and I think this is the other thing too, what age does the department consider to be a senior? And I'm 50, and I remember when I turned 50, my staff in North Valley at that time, purchased me a card, and I'm like, man, I still feel like I'm young, right? But the department does consider, go ahead, people at 50 to be seniors.
At 50 is a senior, and I actually was a little surprised by that myself, because I think people still feel younger for longer, and we can see definitely that there is a continued appeal for individuals to stay active, and the people are looking to be able to work longer and certainly be able to remain social and physically fit. So we want to be able to make sure that we're doing that for individuals. But our membership for our department is 50 years of age and older. Certainly we want the department to be a part of many of the mayor's priorities, because there's opportunity in our department to be able to look at ways in which we can continue to grow our intergenerational programming. That is something that also volunteerism is high on the priority list for the administration, and we have a tremendous amount of retired senior volunteers within our department that could be a true asset and continue to grow for our community members. And then, of course, certainly there's a whole issue around public safety, and that impacts our department and our community members every single day. So it's exciting for our membership to really be so engaged in what our community offers all.
And it's funny because they're engaged in all the communities that we have. I mean, there's 7 centers. You also have CASA, nutrition, RSVP, the Senior Companion Program. There's so many things that our department does. The nutrition, and I look at it, I've been at Manzano, Mesa, and North Valley, and Los Volcanes for a while, Senior Center. And to me, I used to look at it like this when I was a director at Parks and Recreation or Community Services, that some of the food that the kids got at that time with the free lunch program might be the best meals they get all week. And we see this with our seniors. The people at Casa, the cooks, and Danny Holcomb is in charge now, but they do a great job out there.
Oh,
And I see that every day because we see the same people coming for those meals every single day, and I think that's a huge part of what we do.
That is, and I think that's also one of our most unknown areas is certainly our nutrition program. And so, that is a whole segment with providing the cooks at the senior centers with our satellite meal sites. You have individuals coming there for a wonderfully nutritious lunch. We also offer breakfast at many of our locations, which I think people need to take more and more advantage of, especially for our senior population. Certainly, I think that we have also our homebound program, and that's something that I'm hoping we can be able to continue to showcase in our community and get more people involved with that.
Oh, that's so important. You mentioned that you worked for the city before. In your opinion, what's different under this administration?
Well, certainly coming back in this role for this department. This department, I cannot tell you how many compliments I've heard about how highly valued it is. Individuals come to our senior centers on a daily basis. All of our centers at least are open at least one day for the whole week. People value what we do, and that has been a tremendous plus to come under this administration. And then look at some of the priorities that we have. I have a new perception coming back to the city from the nonprofit sector, and there's a real importance that we have to our taxpayers that are putting resources towards our city and really just want to make sure that we are all living in a healthy, engaged environment where we can be able to all flourish.
A lot of components that have to come together for that, and that's a huge job that you've undertaken, no question about it. You got some good people under you as well. So yeah, when you mention those, and again, me being a member of the department, working for the department for 12 years, I've seen a lot of changes, and but again, I think it's the effect on the people's lives that is never lost on me, and people that I've seen over the years, the same seniors that still come to our centers and partake of our services. And it's important to us. It's important to what we do on a daily basis. There's no doubt about it.
I appreciate that, and also certainly under Mayor Keller, I think that there's this concept of the one Albuquerque. I think is something that is really, really well embraced. He's pushing the city departments to really work together. I think that there is everybody knows that there's tremendous challenges in our community in many different levels. It's going to take all of us, and we are a dedicated city to be able to make sure that we can be able to change things for the better, and it's going to take all of us. And so I think that that's another exciting component of being part of this administration.
Well, as you mentioned, one Albuquerque, the new logo there, and that's part of our department and what we do and everything, and we sign and everything, and I think that was pretty cool. Anna, this is a key question, and this is something that you have great detail about. How's the department organized?
Well, certainly having almost 200 employees, and then also on top of that, nearly 1,000 volunteers, as I mentioned, certainly through our senior core programming, our retired senior volunteer program. We have 3 core service areas, the first one being social services division. That is kind of broken up into various areas. Information and assistance, if I can just talk about that a little bit, because that is something that I certainly want folks to be able to take advantage of. You can contact 764-6400, and you actually will speak to a live person. This is different than 311. This is an individual that is geared to answering questions regarding senior resources and programs. So we have individuals that are dedicated 5 days a week that work with individuals that have questions and can be able to offer them referrals and resources. Next, we also have our case management program, and those are individuals that actually go out and visit with homebound seniors and their family members, do an assessment to be able to figure out what they may be eligible for. Maybe it's a homebound meal, maybe it's that they need some light repair around their home. Those are amazing interactions that our city members go out and visit. And we're very lucky as Albuquerque to have that kind of offering. Most cities actually don't.
No, they sure don't.
And then certainly our home services, as I briefly alluded to, I think that's one of our unsung heroes. Those are individuals that go out and do repair, retrofit, maybe perhaps put a ramp, a grab bar, just to ensure the safety of a senior individual in our community. And then certainly our senior core programs, and that's kind of broken into 3 areas that's actually federally funded, and certainly there's also state and city support for those senior core programming, which we have a very, very robust program. It covers senior companions, individuals that go and work with individuals that maybe need somebody to take them on errands. Companionship is a key part as we all age.
Sure is.
Certainly our foster grandparents. You could probably not find a classroom within APS and surrounding areas that actually do not have a foster grandparent. It's amazing on how many foster grandparents we have. I met one woman that she'd been a foster grandparent for 20 years, and it gave her so much more than just even what we knew that child was receiving from her. And that's where we're also an area that which we want to expand. And then certainly our retired senior core volunteers, those are the individuals that are in nonprofits, government entities. They're making a difference every day in our community. And then certainly our second division is nutrition and transportation, which we touched on a little bit. Certainly our centralized kitchen facility is huge and it produces 800 meals a day for individuals. And we also have our cooks at our centers. Individuals can find out if they qualify for homebound meals by calling our number and doing an assessment. And then transportation. I think transportation is one area that's grown a lot. We've offered expanded hours. It's free for individuals 60 or older. And we will take individuals to the grocery store, perhaps Walmart if they need errands. Medical appointments are priority, and those are a lot of calls that we do also get. But it's also group events. Maybe individuals are going on an outing. And so it's another opportunity for socialization through transportation services that we're able to provide. And individuals can go ahead and make an appointment for those kinds of services by calling 764-6464.
Well, that covers it all. I think one of the things I did want to mention, those meals are planned by a nutritionist.
Yes.
So, that's important too. And, I've seen that for years now. Those meals are prepared at site, on site, they cook from scratch. That's important. They just don't ship them in.
Right.
And these are planned out and well planned out.
Yes.
Nutritious, and things are changing with nutrition all the time. So I think that's important to know.
And if I can certainly just allude to that, we certainly do always survey our individuals that we're serving just to kind of find out if they like the meal. And those meals are planned out, a month, and the feedback that we've gotten on them is tremendous. And then certainly I did almost allude to forgetting one very important part of our department, which is our recreation programs. Certainly that is the 6 senior centers, the 2 multi-generational centers, one in which you head up, Manzano,
Right.
Mesa. They're spread all throughout our community. As I mentioned before, they're used all the time. We have individuals visiting, to be able to have that social interaction or a nutritious meal, maybe perhaps programming. I mean, certainly even my own mother learned how to tin at Los Volcanes, and now she goes out and sells her crafts at local craft fairs. So it's kind of an amazing
Right.
how this almost comes personal for myself. But I think one thing that I also want to mention is our sports and recreation programs. People don't realize it, but we have actual standalone fitness facilities for seniors are also a part of our actual multi-gen areas, that we have a sports area there that we offer certain classes, free weights, those kinds of opportunities for people to stay physically active. So that's a growing trend. I mean, you see more and more people that, they really could do laps around me in the gym. So I'm really excited about our expansion of those programs.
Yeah, well, we have one of those facilities at Manzano, Mesa, and I think one of the things I just wanted to mention, working at a multi-generational center, wow, we have the spray park there as well for kids, and for us, we have it all there, kids, seniors, mentally challenged, physically challenged. It's an amazing place, as they all are, though. I don't want to touch on one without mentioning the other as well. So great explanation. I don't think you missed anything either.
Well, I mean, the multi-gen, I think, is such a critical component to this administration. I mean, I want to give kudos certainly for those 2 centers because they have the before and after school programming that happens, our summer programming. The spray park, I think, is used as from the time that it's open.
Yes.
And we're very unique because that's actually the only city facility that has that kind of a spray park attached to a multi-gen center. So we're really lucky in having that. So it's an opportunity for us to continue to incorporate intergenerational programming because we have not only the youth as small as 6 to the senior that could be well over 100.
That's an incredible place, believe me. But as I mentioned, they all are to you, I'm sure, and to all of us. Anna, these facilities, are they open to the public? Is there a membership cost or age requirement?
Sure. Certainly. Well, for the Department of Senior Affairs to actually utilize these facilities, it's a $20 membership, which kicked into effect on July 1. When we really did an analysis of this, the tremendous amount of services and quality of programming that we offer is a tremendous value compared to other cities that actually don't offer the array that we are lucky to have here in our city, in our beautiful city. Also, one thing that is really important that came up with the membership is that if there is somebody unable to pay and cannot afford that membership, we certainly will waive it. There is no denial of services or access to our facilities. We want this to continue to be an inclusive place that individuals can be able to come and find that kind of interaction that they're seeking. And then, of course, our age, as I mentioned, for a senior, it's 50 years,
Right.
50 years age young and older. And then certainly for our multi-gens, those actually do have the blended populations with as young as 6 years old to, as I mentioned, to the senior age. So we have the gamut of individuals specifically at the multi-gens.
Oh yeah, we're on the gamut there. But as I mentioned, all those facilities. I worked in North Valley for 4 years, and there's some amazing. I've met amazing people throughout my whole career. I'm lucky. Anna, the programming. How is the programming at these centers arranged, and what opportunities are there, in your opinion? And you've again, took over in March, and you've been hit the ground running and haven't stopped since. What opportunities are there for expansion as far as you're concerned and what you're looking at?
Certainly, I think our youth programming is going to be number one. As I mentioned before, a lot of individuals take advantage of our before and after school programming that happens. Our summer program has a wide array of opportunities for us to be able to partner more with city and nonprofit organizations. How do we be able to bring in the Kiwanis Club to be able to do some work with maybe our summer youth? You know, there's all opportunities where we have this wealth and expansion of knowledge in the senior population that we should be infusing within our department. Individuals want to be engaged. They want to have an impact on our young people, and we could be able to take more advantage of that. A perfect example of that certainly was the recent 1ABQ service project that was spearheaded by the mayor and First Lady Liz Keller. Our department came out in very, very, very strong support of that. And we had everything from a multi-generational sock hop, which one grandma told me that she was so excited to be able to bring her young grandchild to an event with her where they could be able to have fun together in a different variety.
Right.
So, I mean, those are the kinds of things that we have the opportunity to expand on. And then certainly even within our homebound senior program, I mean, there's opportunity for us to partner with, you know, local children's organizations to be able to provide, maybe it's like a little, you know, little note of encouragement for perhaps a senior, or vice versa. We could be able to do so many different partnerships across our department. So I'm really looking at expanding programming in that way. And then certainly our centers are an opportunity for continued outreach. You know, we have opportunities where we have active social seniors that are coming to our facilities. Well, everyone knows that there may be a neighbor in their community. It could be a relative that needs our other services, and we need to be able to use those better for outreach on our other programs that we do offer. So certainly, you know, there's folks out there that may need a ramp, and we want to know, we want them to know about our department and what we do offer by contacting us right away.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of services that I think sometimes, as you mentioned, people may not know about. The ramps, they did that for my mom when my mother was alive, and that was a beautiful service. And you're right, home chores, and they do a great job, and so do all the other departments that you mentioned. What other services do you want the public to know more about? I mean, you mentioned home chores. Anybody else that? And I think what you're saying, and you know, and I believe me, I know it's an undersung. It's you know, not enough people know about it. So if they, you know, there's a lot of people that might be watching or saying, hey, I might need them. So
certainly. Well, just to expand on home services, you know, I think that is one of the areas in which, you know, people contacting us, there is sometimes an age requirement or an income requirement, just depending on what they're looking for. But I can tell you, as you know, the weather hopefully begins to start to change and people need their heaters changed over, we are hoping that, you know, people will continue to reach out to us for even those minor things that need to be taken around the house. So anything from the minor home repairs to certainly retrofits. We want people to know that our home services team, which is located in a facility off of First Street, they're responding to requests.
New facility, by the way.
New facility,
yes.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Our new facility.
Right.
But you would be surprised at just the amount of supplies and knowledge that these individuals have to be able to work with these individuals that really are relying on our program to be able to provide them some sort of security and comfort, because we certainly want to make sure that people feel safe and that they're living in good conditions. We want to be able to help them. And so, you know, kudos to our home services department. Just recently, they teamed up with Safe City Strike Task Force. They also went out to help individuals that perhaps had, you know, very littered, you know, over a period of time, helped work to even clean up their yards and make sure that they were safe in the surrounding areas entering their home. So we go out and we respond to a lot of situations like that, and we're very fortunate. And then certainly our homebound senior program of our meals is something, you know, for individuals 60 years of age or older. That is something that we are continuing to look to ramp up. There's certain qualifiers for it. But I've gone on myself with a transportation driver to go do these homebound meals. And I was really surprised that from the interaction that I had with these seniors that literally are so excited and waiting to see the driver that's bringing them the meal. They personally know them. Our drivers are so compassionate, and they want to know, like, how are you doing? Hey, has somebody checked on? And also our drivers see a lot of different things. They notice if something's perhaps not right, you know, at, Mrs. Sanchez's house.
That's
like,
right.
oh, you know, who's this new person there? And, you know, we are the eyes and ears because we're having that interaction with individuals that are really waiting for this nutritious meal. You know, we have some seniors, we have grandparents raising grandchildren. We have individuals with disabilities, you know, that have a hard time getting around. And we are that friendly face that they see on a daily basis. So we want people to know more about these programs and to give us a call at the 764-6400 number.
there's been instances over the years, even before you became director, that drivers found out that their clients or their people that they deliver to weren't answering the door. And yes, you're right. Socialization means so much. I worked for transportation just for a bit, and I remember one of my clients that I picked up. He says, "Hey, I'm not in any rush. All I'm going to go home to is four walls anyway." So socialization and the ability to communicate with people. Don't ever underestimate that. That's why when I see the same seniors every day at Manzano, I've got to go, "Hey, how's it go?" Put my arm around them, what's going on? Because you're still here. One lady at Manzano, I got to tell you this story. She can hardly walk, and I'll go, I'll say, "You're still here." Every day I see her, I'm like, wow. And she takes 2 steps at a time. And slow ones, but I'll tell her, I said, "There's a reason you're still here. You come every day." So I give her a hug every day I see her, and because that means something. She wants to be there. And so I think we see that in the department, whether it be RSVP, the programs you mentioned, we touch so many people's lives. That's the thing that I get from the department on an everyday basis.
Well, and I've been doing a variety of visits with our members at each of the locations, and I cannot tell you just how complimentary they are of our staff. I mean, I think our staff is the best. Of course, I'm going to just say that our department certainly has that compassion and passion for really working with the senior population. And, certainly I think that there's opportunities that we can be able to expand to be able to enhance their experience, and we'll continue to look at that as a department. We're very fortunate to have partnerships that we try to bring in to kind of add and blend with, what we currently have going on there. For example, Silver Horizons, a nonprofit organization that, without them, that we would not be able to have our expanded food market that's available for seniors to come into our centers. They come once a month, and this wonderful nonprofit organization, and they provide food that individuals can be able to take home. And you'd be surprised at how many people show up for those types of things. Food scarcity is a real issue when you're dealing with our senior population. So it's wonderful that we have these array of services and partnerships in which to provide to the
That's
public.
Silver Horizons. I've seen that, Manzano, Mesa, and yes, it always surprises us. And we're so glad, though, that is a part, that you mentioned, and it surprises people. Sometimes seniors have to make a choice between medication and food, and man, that breaks my heart. It really does. So those kind of programs there are very, very important, and we're glad to partner with Silver Horizons. They're a big part of what we do there.
Thank you. Yes,
yeah.
they are.
Anna, what other events does the department put on?
Well, one of the things that I love actually seeing this year was, of course, I came on board and we had a Senior I Know essay contest. And I was floored by the wonderful, touching stories that came out of young people in our community. This is an annual contest that the department puts on. 2,000 students submit essays about a senior that's impacted their lives. And I couldn't help but cry during the event just because the touching things that impacted these children range from, I don't have anybody else, but this neighbor. I mean, one child wrote about a neighbor that kind of adopted him and kind of showed him, how to ride a bike and have that kind of impact on him that he will remember forever. So this gives children an opportunity to say what they're grateful for, folks that have an impact on their life. And it's a tough competition because out of 2,000, it's only a few children are awarded with the top prize. But we do always recognize every single story through a publication that we distribute, and it's something that we're very proud to have as a department. So it's just one of the things that we're going to continue to do, and it will start ramping up in the next year for the next contest. I think it'll be like the 40th year of the contest, so that's a wonderful part of it. And then certainly one of the things that I think most people don't realize is that the Department of Senior Affairs actually puts on our local games, our local competitive games that when I came on board, sports and fitness is a huge part of individuals' lives. People do not stop becoming competitive. You're a competitive younger athlete, you're going to be a competitive senior athlete. Right. And I have watched some of these games, and it is no holds bar of pickleball, shuffleboard. There is a variety of sports that we offer to compete in every summer, and so we just want people to continue to take advantage of that.
We saw that at Manzano Mesa. We had pickleball at the pickleball courts, pickleball inside. We were in charge also at Los Altos to bring out for horseshoes. And man, I'm a former athlete, so I love to see that. But one of the things that we saw in July when they had it was 120. What surprised me and amazed me? There's a 91-year-old man. It's 11 o'clock. It's probably 110 degrees or hotter on the court, and he's so I think I've seen that over the years. I remember years ago a 91-year-old man was long jumping, and he couldn't maybe jump more than that, but he was out there and he's still competing. So anybody that thinks that seniors don't have that competitive drive still because they're older, give that idea up, because you're right. When you're competitive, I'm a major competitor. That's when my knees are all shot because because I was like that, and that and I competed at 50 at the senior games, and that was it. My knees wouldn't do it anymore. So I think those are the things that amaze us too. That even at night, those courts were full, and that was one of the hottest Julys that we've seen.
Oh, certainly, it was definitely warm out there. But I'm telling you, that competitive spirit really kicked in, and what an inspiration! I mean, when we were fortunate to certainly have the state games here that were the qualifier for what's upcoming the national senior games, which I know we'll talk about. But just being able to read some of the stories and the ages of these seniors, that I'm telling you that they train year round and then they work up so that way they're eligible for these types of competitions, is just overall inspiring.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. And those courts that we have, to the south of us at Manzano Mesa, all the time I hear that sound, and the weather's still nice. So they take major advantage of that, and they should. Anna, 2019 National Senior Games, the Albuquerque was chosen as the host site. And we're already, I'm already thinking in my mind, I can already see it's going to be, we're going to have a host pickleball at Manzano Mesa, and it's going to be, I already can see it. I see it in my mind at least twice a week. But tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's going to be 12 days of competition, so it begins June 14th. And this is of next year. It's coming fast and furious, but it's a really exciting time for Albuquerque because we're going to have 10,000 competitive senior athletes that are going to be coming to Albuquerque from all over the country. We even have a few international competitors for the National Senior Games. I cannot tell you how many folks I've talked to that said, I know so-and-so that's going to be competing. Counselor Brad Winter is going to be competing in several different sports.
As he has for years.
As he has. And so, I mean, these are folks that, look forward to this every year. The pride when they win and the defeat, and even with the defeat when they lose,
agony of defeat,
is still there. And I think that we're really excited as a community. It's going to take a lot to be able to put this event on, but we're talking 20 different venues, certainly across our community, and the sports that's going to be taking place. There's something for everyone to be able to get involved, either as a volunteer, a spectator, a supporter in general. Come cheer us on in 2019.
And that's not even talking about the economic effect on the city, notwithstanding heads and beds, a lot of economic revenue expected, and that's always a big help.
There's going to be a lot of attention on Albuquerque, and certainly, as we know, Albuquerque is an attractive community in general. As we talked about, seniors want to be able to relocate to Albuquerque. It's a great opportunity for us to show the best of what Albuquerque is, and we just really want everybody to come out and put our best face forward.
Boy,
so it's
interesting, because that's already around the it's
a
ways away, but it's always already in my mind. What involvement does the city of Albuquerque need for an event because it's an event this size? It's huge.
It is huge.
I talked to Jason Mountain, and we talked about Jason Mountain, the head of the senior games from Florida, and he was talking about what he needed at Manzano Mesa. This is 3 months ago, and it's not, it's still a ways away, but it's already in my mind because we got things going on, spray park. We got so many things going on at the center, and it's it's okay. We'll make it happen. We know we will. But talk about what the city of Albuquerque overall, its involvement is with this big, huge event.
Well, I think the number one thing that we're going to be needing is volunteers. It's projected we're going to need about 3,000 volunteers, and that's individuals, helping at different sporting events, from a variety of things, passing out fruit and water to the athletes that are competing, helping in the hospitality tents. The village, which is really the main athlete check-in, is going to be at the convention center. That's going to need people just even directing folks, making sure that folks are okay, that they know where they're going. We're going to have an array of individuals that we need to get involved with this project, and that can be everybody from, youth service groups, business organizations should come out. We should make these a real big effort for our community to come out as volunteers to support these athletes as they compete over the 12 days.
Oh, what an amazing event this is going to be. Like I said, I'm already looking forward to it, thinking about it. As the months go on, we're going to have to plan at Manzano Mesa along with your guidance and Danny Holcomb. And there's a lot of planning that goes into events like this. There really is. I already see my parking lot, or our parking lot at Manzano. I could already see it in my mind, full, and we got a lot of logistics arrangements. Anna, we really appreciate your time. Anything else you would like to share about the Department of Senior Affairs? You've been a great guest.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Ed. I mean, this is an honor to serve in this position under this administration. I think that the department is extremely valued within our community. We want to be able to hear from our community members, certainly always what we can be able to do better. We want to be innovative, and we want to be responsive to anything that our community needs. So just very grateful to be able to have this opportunity to serve in this capacity.
Anna Sanchez, Director of the Department of Senior Affairs, thanks so much for being our guest. guest.
Thank you, Ed.
You bet. For the Department of Senior Affairs, I'm Ed Nuñez.